Be careful. Your neighbors are watching you closely. The trap has already been set without your dear child. If you believe in angels, start this video and watch it completely. Angel says this is very serious and I am not speaking to you by accident. Archangel Michael says, don't ignore this. He cries out loudly because he sees something you do not see. And he says, I contact you immediately because this message is only for you. There is a trap and it has already been set. It was designed in the shadows, carefully laid out without your knowledge. God says, be careful because your neighbors are watching you more closely than you realize. Their eyes are on you in silence and their whispers are not innocent. Archangel Michael says, the walls have heard conversations, and the air around you has carried the sound of plans that were not made for your blessing, but for your downfall. God says you must stay awake because in the spirit realm your name has been called out and the enemy is trying to use those closest in proximity to you to create a trap that you will not see until it's too late unless you listen to this message. God says the seriousness of this moment cannot be underestimated. There is danger in underestimating silent watchers. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies are not the loud ones who confront you openly, but the quiet ones who stand nearby with false smiles, studying you. Noting your movements, keeping track of what you do and where you go. Archangel Michael says, your neighbors are not simply passing by. They are observing. They are calculating. And some are even waiting for the right moment to expose you. God says you have been marked by His blessing. But the mark of favor always attracts jealousy. Your neighbors, whether you have spoken to them often or not, have felt the weight of your light. They sense something about you that they cannot explain. They see doors opening for you that they cannot stop. They see angels surrounding you when you step out. And their human jealousy rises against you. But God says what they are setting up in darkness is already exposed in heaven. And the trap that was set is about to be revealed. Archangel Michael says he saw the blueprint of this trap. It was not accidental. It was not casual. It was deliberate. Plans were whispered in hushed tones behind closed doors. Eyes glanced at one another when you walked past. Messages were exchanged. Small signs were given and a strategy was formed. But Michael says, I break the power of that trap by divine authority. He is standing between you and the snare of the enemy. God says, do not be afraid, but do not ignore. Fear is not your portion, but wisdom must be your weapon. Archangel Michael says, your neighbors watch not with love but with suspicion. They wonder what you have. They wonder what you know. They wonder why you are still standing strong when others have fallen. They wonder why doors open for you when they remain closed for them. They wonder why heaven answers your prayers in ways they cannot understand. Jealousy, envy, and suspicion have mixed into one. And now they are watching you not to admire but to trap. God says, Hear me clearly because the snare is already set. The trap is invisible to the natural eye. You cannot see it with your human vision. But in the spirit, it has already been designed like a net laid on the path of a traveler. A net is invisible until you are already in it. That is why Michael came urgently. That is why he says, I contact you immediately. Because if you were to continue blindly, you would walk into the trap without realizing. God says your neighbors are using information, watching your routines, observing your actions, studying your patterns. They are looking for a weak point. A moment when you are distracted. A moment when you let your guard down. But Michael says, I stand guard and I call you to stay alert. Because when the enemy sets a trap, God sets deliverance. When they dig a pit, they fall into it themselves. When they set up a snare, it catches their own feet. God says, you are not alone. Even though your neighbors are watching you closely, there are greater eyes watching over you. The eyes of heaven, the eyes of the Lord that never close, the eyes that see beyond walls and hear beyond whispers. Michael says, the enemy hopes you will ignore this message. The enemy hopes you will think this is exaggeration. The enemy hopes you will laugh and continue carelessly. But Michael weeps when you take lightly what heaven reveals because he knows how close the trap already is. God says this is very serious. You must know that what is hidden in your neighborhood is not as innocent as it looks. People smile in daylight, but in the night their words shift. People wave at you, but when you turn your back, their eyes narrow with calculation. People ask small questions not because they care but because they are gathering information. God says do not answer lightly. Do not reveal your secrets. Do not share what I have told you to keep quiet. Archangel Michael says silence is a weapon in this season. Not everything must be spoken. Not every blessing must be displayed. Not every plan must be shared because your neighbors are watching closely. God says I am exposing this now because time is short. The trap is already set. It is not something being planned in the future. It is something active now. The enemy has already laid the net, already positioned people, already planted watchers. But Michael says the trap will fail because you have been warned. A warned child of God is a protected child of God. God says, I give you foresight so that hindsight will not wound you. I give you revelation so that regret will not consume you. I give you this message so that your steps will be ordered in such a way that the snare cannot catch you. Archangel Michael says to you, pray when you wake. Pray before you step outside. Pray when you return home. Pray in the night when others are sleeping because prayer is fire around your house. He says, do not leave your spirit unguarded because the neighbors who watch you are not stronger than the fire of God that surrounds you. God says this is your moment to rise in discernment. You have already felt unusual stares. You have already noticed small comments that felt heavier than they sounded. You have already wondered why you felt uneasy in your own environment. That uneasiness was not paranoia. It was discernment. That feeling was heaven alerting you that not all who watch you are for you. God says, do not doubt your spirit. When I send warnings, do not dismiss them. Michael says you are being preserved for something greater. That is why the enemy wants to set a trap near you. The closer you are to breakthrough, the more desperate the enemy becomes to stop you. The closer you are to stepping into your destiny, the louder the whispers of your enemies become. The closer you are to open doors, the tighter the net is pulled in your path. But God says, I will not let you be caught. I will not let you be destroyed. I will not let the enemy laugh over your fall. God says, the neighbors may be watching, but angels are also watching. The neighbors may be whispering, but heaven is also speaking. The neighbors may be setting traps, but Michael is also destroying them. God says, I am bigger than the net. I am greater than the whisper. I am higher than the plan of men. He says, no trap will stand against you, no matter how closely they watch. For I am the Lord who sees, and I am the Lord who delivers. The snare is broken and you will escape, God says. This is very serious and I will not let you miss this truth that is being revealed. Archangel Michael says, do not ignore this. I contact you immediately because this is not ordinary. This is directly for you and you need to be very careful, for your neighbors are watching you closely and the trap has already been set without your knowledge. I need you to listen with your soul, not just with your ears. Because this is a matter of destiny, a matter of life's unseen warfare, and it is happening around you even in this moment you are reading. Nothing about this message is casual. Nothing is accidental. It has reached you now because God has ordained that you should know and you should act wisely with trust in Him. For a long time you felt the strange gaze, the unspoken whispers, the slight stirrings when you step outside or when the lights flicker through the curtains late at night. You have dismissed them sometimes or told yourself it was imagination. But heaven says today, no, it was not your imagination. Your spirit was sensing the invisible eyes that study you, the unseen ears that listen for your steps, the hidden traps already laid in your path. These are not coincidences. These are strategies of darkness working through those near you, and you must awaken now because God loves you too much to let you be destroyed without warning. Archangel Michael has stood beside you many nights when the plot against you deepened, when words were exchanged between them in low tones. When papers were shuffled, when phones carried messages about you, when someone's envy turned into something more dangerous. Michael has raised his sword and cried out in the heavens, saying, "This one is marked by God, this one cannot fall into their pit without being warned." That is why this message comes with urgency. The trap has already been set. Do you understand? This means it is not something in the future only, but something active in the present moment. You are walking around it even now. If you'd like to donate or show your appreciation, you can give a super thanks up to $100. God says you are safe when you cling to Him, but you must be alert. The neighbors are not just physical people next door. They are symbolic, too. People close enough to observe your daily movement. Those who smile at you. But He has mapped it out before the throne of God. There were meetings you were not invited to, but your name was discussed. There were papers written with intentions that involved you, though you did not sign them. There were words spoken late in the night when you were asleep. But in the spirit realm, Michael stood alert. He recorded them. He saw them and now he declares them to you. Be careful. The trap is not far. It is close. It is connected to those who act familiar. God says this is not to make you paranoid but to make you wise. Do not isolate yourself completely but do not trust blindly. Pray over every interaction. Bless your house daily. Seal your atmosphere with the name of Jesus. Speak light into every corner of your dwelling. When you feel watched, remind yourself that you are more than watched. You are covered. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, but you must still walk with wisdom because weapons can still be formed. There is a reason you are receiving this message now. Timing is everything with God. If He told you too early, you might have forgotten. If He told you too late, you might have been wounded already. But now is the appointed time. This means the trap is active now. But it also means the way of escape is open now. Michael says the enemy thought you were too distracted to notice, too trusting to suspect, too tired to resist. But what the enemy underestimated is the God inside you. The angels around you, the prayers that cover you. Even when you felt weak, heaven was strong on your behalf. Even when you didn't pray long, heaven still listened to your sighs. Even when you thought you were alone, you were not. This is why the enemy's net cannot capture you if you take this message seriously. God says sometimes you wonder why He allowed you to live where you live, why certain people are around you, why certain trials have come so close. It is because He wanted you to learn vigilance, to sharpen discernment, to grow strong in spirit. It is because your destiny is great and those who carry great destiny cannot live in ignorance. You were chosen for revelation. That is why you are reading this now. Archangel Michael is pleading, do not dismiss this. He says, many have dismissed warnings until it was too late, until they cried bitterly, wishing they had listened when God first spoke. Do not let that be your story. This warning is love. This warning is salvation. This warning is rescue in advance. You are not supposed to be destroyed. You are supposed to be delivered. God says pray over your entrances and exits. Pray over your conversations. Be silent when needed, for silence is also a weapon. Do not reveal everything about yourself, because watchers thrive on information. Do not walk into every invitation, for not all doors are for you. Ask God which doors are safe. Ask Michael to stand at your side when you must face those who are secretly against you. Ask for discernment to see beyond smiles into motives. The trap has already been set, but the trap will fail. It will not capture you. In fact, it will expose those who built it. Those who planned secretly will find themselves caught publicly. Those who whispered will be shouted down by truth. Those who dug a pit will fall into it themselves. That is the promise of God. Do not lose hope. Do not panic. Do not feel defeated. This message is your victory in advance. You are warned, therefore you are already rescued. You are enlightened, therefore you are already ahead of them. You are covered. Therefore, you are already untouchable in the way they imagined. Michael says he has drawn his sword and placed it at your gate. He is stationed at your windows. He is walking with you even when you do not see. The watchers think they are watching you. But in reality, Michael is watching them, and he is ready to strike if they cross the boundary set by God. God says, hold this word close. Pray over it. Let it guide your actions in the coming days. Be careful. Be wise, but be unafraid. You are a child of light, and no darkness can overcome you. The neighbors may watch, the trap may be set, but God has spoken. Michael has revealed, and you are safe in his hands. God says, listen now with the deepest part of your heart, because this message is not for everyone. It is only for you, and heaven is commanding that you receive it without delay. Archangel Michael has stepped forward, his wings stretched, his sword raised in fire, his voice filled with thunder, and he says, this is very serious. Do not ignore it. Do not pretend you did not hear it, for the heavens are sounding the alarm. You have been under close observation, not by accident but by intention. And your neighbors, the ones who smile when they see you, the ones who act ordinary when they pass you, are watching more than you realize. The trap has already been set, and they thought you would walk into it blindly, unaware. But God says you will not fall, because He Himself has intervened. You have felt it, haven't you? That sense that eyes are on you even when you are alone. That strange weight when you step outside. That uneasy silence that lingers after small talk, those are not your imagination. Heaven confirms it to you now. You are right. You are being watched. But listen carefully. This is not a word to make you afraid. It is a word to open your eyes, to sharpen your spirit, to awaken you. For God says you are protected. And no scheme of man, no plot of neighbor, no trap laid in secret will prevail against my child. I have seen the whispers in the night. I have watched the exchange of plans. I have witnessed the hidden jealousy that burns in their hearts. And I say to you, now, their hands cannot touch what I have blessed. Archangel Michael says, your spirit has been restless because the Spirit of God has been warning you. Heaven always warns before the attack comes. Heaven always shines light before darkness tries to surround. This message comes not to scare you, but to arm you. The trap is real, but it will not succeed. They set snares in the path of the righteous, but the Lord causes the righteous to leap over them. They dig pits, but they themselves fall into the holes they dug. They plan secretly, but their secrets are exposed in heaven's light. Archangel Michael says, their watching eyes cannot overrule the eyes of God that never leave you. God says, be careful, yes, but do not be consumed with suspicion. Be alert but not anxious. Trust in me more than you fear them. For their power is limited, but mine is eternal. They are bound by jealousy, by bitterness, by envy. And these forces push them to plot against you. But what they forgot is that you are not ordinary. You are chosen. You are shielded. You are covered in prayers you don't even know were prayed over you. You are surrounded by angels that you cannot see. Even now as you sit and read, angels are posted at every corner of your home, at every doorway, at every window, and no darkness can pass through without my permission. Archangel Michael says, do not step into the trap of fear. That is the first snare. They want you shaken. They want you unstable. They want you to second-guess us yourself, but God says, I am the rock you stand on. I am the foundation under your feet. Do not give them the satisfaction of seeing you fall apart. Instead, rise higher. Smile when they expect you to frown. Walk boldly when they expect you to hide. Pray when they expect you to doubt. Every action you take in faith is fire against their schemes. Do not underestimate how deeply jealousy can wound the hearts of others. Sometimes it is not strangers who hurt you, but those closest, those who look into your life with envy, wondering why blessings seem to follow you, why you still rise even after every hardship. That jealousy has turned into watchfulness and watchfulness into plotting. But God says the plot is powerless. The schemes are empty. I will expose them, says the Lord. I will bring what was hidden into the light. And when I expose them, you will see clearly who stood against you while pretending to stand beside you. The Lord says to you now, trust me more than you trust what your eyes see. Trust me more than you trust your own strength. Pray without ceasing. Every prayer you release builds a shield of light around you. Every whisper of faith adds another layer of armor. Every declaration of my word shakes the ground under the feet of your enemies. You are not defenseless. You are not abandoned. You are not exposed. You are hidden in my wings. Archangel Michael says, "Hear this and let it sink deeply. They are watching, but I am watching too. Their eyes are on you, but my eyes are on them. They thought they were secretive, but every step they take is recorded in the courts of heaven. Every word they spoke is already known. They cannot move without me knowing. They cannot plan without me hearing. Their very breath is in my hand. So why would you fear them? Stand still, child, and watch the salvation of the Lord. You will see signs. You will notice subtle things, a door left slightly open, a word spoken in haste, an odd silence when you enter a room, a sudden kindness that feels rehearsed. These are not coincidences. They are small cracks that reveal the truth. Pay attention, but don't obsess. God will reveal enough for you to know, and Archangel Michael will shield you from the rest. The purpose of this message is not that you would live in fear, but that you would live in faith, that you would walk wisely, that you would pray fervently, that you would not be caught unaware. The trap set without your knowledge will become the very thing that backfires. Just as Mon built a gallows for Mori, but was hung upon it himself, so too will those who plot against you face the consequences of their own hands. The net they laid will entangle their own feet. The storm they stirred will consume their own house, and you will walk away unharmed. Demons alike. It is proof of something you carry, something given to you from above, something no one can wash off. But the problem is, when it was noticed on the 3rd of August, it did not happen in a holy place. It was not discovered by someone who would understand it with reverence. It was noticed by someone who now feels they have seen too much and they are afraid. Michael tells me they are afraid because they know this scent is tied to a prophecy. This person overheard or once read somewhere that there would be one person on earth whose very presence would carry the fragrance of what is called Heaven's seal. This seal is not visible to the eye. It is revealed in the unseen, but to those sensitive to it. It comes through in the form of a scent that cannot be described in human language. It is both sweet and powerful, both delicate and heavy. And it stirs something deep inside the soul of whoever notices it. The one who noticed this on August 3rd knows they have crossed paths with someone chosen, and that chosen one is you. God says they will not stop thinking about it. They are restless. They are worried that others will find out. They are torn between warning you and protecting themselves. Michael says, you must understand, when God marks someone with his fragrance, it means they are carrying an assignment that will shift the course of events in ways that both heaven and hell are aware of. This is why you may have been facing strange resistance lately. This is why people sometimes act strangely around you without reason. This is why certain people who once liked you now seem distant or uneasy. They may not consciously know why, but their spirit senses it. The fragrance on you stirs either reverence or fear. And in some it provokes hostility. On that day, August 3rd, it was as if a veil was pulled back. This person, someone you may or may not know, was close enough to you to catch it. They stopped what they were doing. Their face changed. They hesitated to speak, and later when they were alone they whispered to someone else about it, but their words traveled further than they intended. Now people you've never met are aware. They may not know your name yet, but they know the description. And Michael says this is where the danger begins, because while heaven marks and protects its own, the enemy also targets those with the seal. Michael says you must not take this lightly. There is a reason this message had to reach you today. Time in the spiritual realm is not like time here. But what was uncovered on August 12th set certain things in motion that will soon show themselves in your visible life. You may notice more unusual encounters, people watching you longer than normal, strangers acting like they've seen you before, or someone asking odd questions that feel too personal. These are not coincidences. These are attempts to confirm whether you are the one they heard about. But here is the other truth Michael wants you to hear. The scent is not something you can hide, and you are not meant to hide it. It is a gift, a sign, a banner of heaven's ownership over you. In the ancient times, when a king wanted to mark someone as his own, he would give them a garment soaked in a fragrance only the royal household possessed. Wherever that person went, the scent announced their connection to the king. That is what you are carrying now. The fragrance on you is proof that you belong to the King of Kings. And this is why darkness trembles when it senses you nearby. God says, I have chosen you. I have marked you. And the scent they fear is the sign of my covenant with you. But you must know there are those who upon sensing this will try to stop you from fulfilling the purpose tied to it. They may not even fully understand why they are doing it. They may think it's just a feeling, but the forces influencing them know the truth. This is why Michael is urgent. He says, you cannot afford to be careless right now. From the 12th of August until now, certain movements have been happening in the shadows. People who should not know about you have been speaking your description. They have been trying to find out your full identity. Some are curious. Some are afraid, and some are actively planning to interfere with you. This is why your dreams might have been strange lately. Why you may have felt sudden anxiety without cause, or why your spirit feels stirred in moments you can't explain. You are sensing the spiritual activity around you even if you don't consciously connect it to this scent. Michael says, do not be afraid but be alert. God has already placed protection around you, but you must also walk with awareness. Do not dismiss the nudges in your spirit. If you feel to avoid someone, avoid them. If you sense to wait before sharing certain information, wait. If you feel the urge to pray without knowing why, obey it immediately. These are ways heaven will guide you in the days ahead. And here is the deeper mystery. This scent is not just a sign of who you are. It is also a weapon, in the unseen realm. This fragrance is like a sword. It cuts through spiritual darkness. It drives away unclean forces and it draws angels closer to you. When you pray, the scent intensifies in the spirit. When you worship, it spreads further, reaching places you cannot see. This is why those in darkness are unsettled by it. They are smelling the presence of the one who defeated them. Michael says someone is afraid for you because they know others may not react with respect. But God says no weapon formed against you will prosper. Still, He does not want you ignorant of the devices of the enemy. There is a reason this was discovered now, and there is a reason He has chosen to speak about it to you today. In the weeks ahead, you will have opportunities and choices to make that will align with your divine purpose or pull you away from it. The scent on you will open doors, but it will also attract opposition. This is why you must be rooted in God's presence every day. You may wonder why Michael is so direct, so commanding in his tone. It is because he sees the urgency. In the spiritual realm, delay can mean danger. This is not to scare you, but to make you aware that what you carry is rare and valuable. And there are forces, both human and spiritual, that would prefer you never realize the full power of what God has placed on you. But now you know God says, I am with you. I have gone before you. I will guard you with my angels. You are not to fear the discovery made on August 3rd, for what was meant to intimidate will become a testimony. The scent they noticed will lead them to me, for I will use even their curiosity to draw them into my light. Michael nods and says, you are not alone in this. I am assigned to you. I will not leave you. But listen to my instructions because the days ahead are important. Michael says, you must understand this without doubt. The one who first noticed the scent on you on August 12th is not just an ordinary passerby. They were in your space for a reason that seemed ordinary to you, but in truth, their path was guided to intersect with yours that day. They are a watcher, though not in the sense of an angel or heavenly being. They are a person whose role in life has been shaped by secrets. They are trained whether consciously or subconsciously to pick up on the hidden details in people. They notice mannerisms, accents, gestures, and yes, scents. And when they caught that fragrance, it was as though every unspoken warning they've ever heard came rushing into their mind at once. He pauses, his tone heavy, and continues, "This person's heart rate changed. Their breathing shifted, their eyes darted. Not because you frightened them with your actions, but because they realized they had encountered something rare, something dangerous to speak of openly, and yet something impossible to ignore." After that moment on August 3rd, they did not simply go back to their life as if nothing happened. Michael says they began making quiet inquiries. You may not know it, but your name has been spoken in conversations you were never present for. They have described you to at least 3 people, one of whom has already begun trying to track you. Not with malicious intent at first, but because they are desperate to confirm if what they sensed is truly what they think it is. The reason they are afraid for you is because they realize that if they noticed, others will too. And not all of those others will have good intentions. The scent you carry is like a beacon. It signals a destiny that cannot be faked or imitated. It is the spiritual equivalent of carrying an ancient priceless artifact in plain sight. Most people will walk past without realizing, but the few who know what it is will not be able to forget. Michael leans closer in the spirit, and I can feel his urgency tightening. You must hear me. They are discussing you in circles you do not belong to. These are places of influence both in the light and in the dark. There are those who will want to recruit you thinking they can benefit from what you carry. There are those who will try to silence you, thinking that removing you will stop the fragrance from spreading. And there are those who will simply watch, waiting for the moment they can intercept your path. This is why I am here, because God has decreed that none of their plans will prevail. But you must still be aware of the movements around you. From that day until now, the one who first noticed has been battling internally. They have considered approaching you directly, but every time they come close, something stops them. Partly fear, partly awe, and partly because they feel unworthy to be in your presence for too long. That is the effect the heavenly fragrance has. It exposes what's hidden in people's hearts. For some, It draws them closer. For others, it makes them retreat. If you'd like to donate or show your appreciation, you can give a super thanks up to $100. Michael says you may have already felt this without realizing what it was. Certain people becoming strangely nervous around you, breaking eye contact quickly, or making excuses to leave a conversation without clear reason. These are signs of their spirit reacting to the seal on you. Now, here is the part you have not yet heard. The fragrance was not always on you in its current strength. God placed it on you long ago, but in a more subtle form. It has intensified recently because your time of being hidden is ending. Heaven has been preparing you quietly, training you through trials, shaping your faith through delays and disappointments, and protecting you from situations that would have harmed your purpose. But now heaven has decided to reveal you more openly, and the fragrance is part of that unveiling. Michael says the scent has been strengthening over the past few months, but on August 12th it reached a threshold where it could no longer be ignored. This was not an accident. It was a divine appointment. And the one who noticed you that day was chosen as the first earthly witness to the fullness of your marking. But why them? Michael says it is because they are connected to others who need to hear of you. Not because they will help you directly, but because their words will set in motion a chain of events that will push you into the very path God intends you to walk. This is why there is urgency, because once the chain starts, it cannot be undone, and you must be ready to step into the moments that arise. God says, I am in control. What they found about you was meant to be found. What they fear is what I have placed in you. And what they cannot explain will draw them into my story for your life. Michael says there is also a warning, because the enemy will try to twist this. They will try to make you feel like this fragrance is a curse, like it is a burden you should try to hide. They will send voices to tell you to keep quiet, to stay small, to avoid standing out. But you must remember, when heaven marks you, it is never to be hidden forever. The scent is an announcement in the spirit realm. This one belongs to the Most High. This one carries His purpose. And here is something deeply personal that Michael shares. Your scent in the heavenly sense carries the memory of where your spirit has been. It holds traces of your prayers, your worship, your moments of surrender, even your tears. Every time you prayed through pain instead of giving up, the fragrance deepened. Every time you chose forgiveness over revenge, the scent grew sweeter. Every time you trusted God, when everything looked hopeless, the fragrance became more potent. That is why it cannot be imitated, because it is not just a gift. It is the result of your journey with God. Michael says, the days ahead will bring signs confirming this message. You will hear someone mention a smell they can't explain when they are near you. You will overhear a stranger describing someone in a way that matches you perfectly, even if they don't know your name. You will feel the atmosphere change in certain rooms and your spirit will sense it before your mind understands. These are not accidents. They are confirmations. From August 3rd until now, there has been movement. Some of it is in your favor, some of it is against you, but all of it is under God's authority. The one who noticed is still deciding what to do next. But Michael says they will not remain silent for long. Soon something they do will set off a ripple and you will find yourself in a situation you did not plan for but were divinely positioned to handle. Michael says, do not shrink back. Do not question whether you are worthy. The scent on you is proof that heaven says you are. And when the moment comes, I will be with you to guide every step. Michael's tone grows even more intense now. As if the air in the room shifts and time itself slows down so you can hear every word without distraction. He says, the ripple that began on August 3rd is not staying small. It has already reached years you have not yet imagined. You think of the one who noticed as just a single person, but in truth they are a bridge. Their words are not contained, they speak and others listen. They are connected to a network of influence. People who are scattered in different places yet linked together through shared secrets and silent agreements. The moment they told even one person what they sensed, they unknowingly opened a door. That door is now swinging wider. Every retelling of what happened that day carries more weight. And each time the story grows. It is no longer just about someone they met. It is about you. Even if they have not yet spoken your name aloud, the scent you carry has become like a mystery they cannot shake off. And this mystery is being discussed in both curiosity and warning. Here is the strange thing. Michael says, not everyone in this chain will respond in the same way. There will be some who are intrigued wanting to know more. There will be others who feel threatened even though they have never met you. And there will be a few who will feel drawn to protect you without understanding why. But all of them will be part of the unfolding path ahead because God has allowed even their reactions to serve His plan. Michael then leans closer in the spirit and says something that almost feels like a whisper, yet it carries the weight of a royal command. They are going to come looking for you, but not all at once. It will happen in stages and each stage will feel like a wave. One wave will come then recede, giving you a short time to breathe before the next one rises. You must be prepared to stand in each wave without fear because every wave will be an opportunity for you to step further into the assignment you carry. The first wave, Michael says, will be small and almost easy to miss. It will look like random encounters. A person lingering near you in a public space. Someone asking an unusual question. A stranger looking at you with recognition when you know you've never met them before. These people will not approach with open hostility.